Hey everyone, welcome back. Professor Ake here. It's great to have you with us today as we're going to talk about sets in Python. We'll talk about different set operations. We'll talk about how you can create sets, and we'll see examples of them by writing simple programs to demonstrate these different functionalities. So let's just dig right in. So a set is a collection of unordered, unique elements, and a set has elements that are unordered. So you have no positions, you have no indices in sets, and also they're unique. So you're only going to have one of each type of value within your set. We can create sets using either the set function or by using a set literal, which is written inside of curly braces. So let's see a couple examples of how to do that. So if I wanted to create a set, I might create a variable called set A, and then I would say equals, and I would use the set function. And then as an argument inside of this parentheses, I would place a list. So I might do something like 8, 6, 7, 5, 3, 0, 9. So that creates a set. And then I could use a set literal and assign it to a variable. So maybe I'll call that set B, and I'll do something like this. I'll say 8, 6, 7. So both ways can be used to create a set. Which way you prefer, up to you. Now we can use our print function to print out the contents of those sets. So I could use, say, an F string. So I could do something like print F, and then I could say the first set is, and then put inside these curly braces here, the variable that's referring to our set. And then I'll close my string here. And if I print this out, run my program, you can see that we've got these curly braces and the values inside separated by commas. So 0, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And remember I said that you're going to have unique values in your set. So let's say that in set B that I tried to add the 7 twice, and I wanted to print out that set. I could use an F string as I just showed you, or I could just print it out. So set B by passing it as an argument straight to the print function. And if I run that, you're going to see that we get those curly braces again, but we only see the 7 the one time. So even though I specified 2 7s in my literal, that gets ignored. That second 7 gets ignored because you only have unique values in your sets. And we were able to print that out. And you can see that we only have the 8, the 6, and the 7. So let's look at a couple of ways that we can modify our sets. We've got some methods we can use. We've got the add method, which will add a new value to a set. We've got the remove and pop methods, which can be used to remove elements from a set. So let's take a look, first of all, at add. So let's say that I wanted to add the number 1 to set B. So what I would do is I would use the variable name, set B, and then I do dot add, and then I'd place inside these parentheses here as an argument the value that I wanted to add to my set. Now keep in mind we're using integers in this video and this example to keep things simple, but you could use whatever type of values you want. They could be strings, for example. They could be floating point numbers. We're just using integers to keep it on the simple side. So if I wanted to add a 1, then I'd put 1 inside of those parentheses, and now if I print out set B again, you're going to see that that value has been added. So there's the 1 showing up. Now let's talk about remove, and let's talk about pop. Now the way remove works is we're going to use that same kind of notation. We're going to say set B, and then we're going to try to remove a value. And let's go ahead and remove the 6. So I'm going to place inside of the parentheses the value that I want to move. So I'm going to remove the 6, and then I'll print out the contents of that set one more time. And if I run this, you'll see that after I removed that the 6 is indeed gone. Now the way pop works is that pop is going to remove a random element from the set. So you're not going to provide any arguments inside those parentheses. You're just going to remove something at random. So if I did something like this, set A dot pop, that's going to remove one of those values. And if I print the set again, so set A, you're going to see that some value is going to be removed, right? Remember that we set up set A with 8, 6, 7, 5, 3, 0, 9. And then once we did a pop, in this case, it decided to remove the 0. Now let me show you a couple of additional useful methods or functions that we can use with sets. So if you want to know how long a set is, how many elements are inside that set, then we can use our len function and then pass as an argument the variable that refers to our set. So for example, set A. And so once we've popped a value from our set, right, the original set had 7 values in it. After we pop it, there'll be 6. So len here will return 6. So I can say print the length of set A is, and then we'll just display what len returns. And then you're going to see there is our 6. So length is nice for that. We can add the elements of an existing set to another set. So we'll do that by using the update function. So let's say that I have set A and I've assigned to it 1, 2, and 3. And then later on I have a set B and that's got 4, 5, and 6 in it. And I want to add the values, the elements of set B into set A. So what I'll do is I'll use update. So I'll do set A dot update, and then I'll provide as an argument inside these parentheses here the name of the set that I want to add. So set B. So now if I print out set A, you're going to see that it contains, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now I can also clear my set. I can empty it out. So I can do something like set A dot clear, and that will remove all the elements from the set, so that when I print out set A again, you're going to see that the set now has nothing in it. And so this is what the idle shell will show you, is just, set here. This looks like you're making a function call, but really it's just telling you, oh, this is an empty set. So let's take a look at 4 common set theory operations. We'll look at intersection, we'll look at union, difference, and the symmetric difference. So first one we'll take a look at is the intersection. So let's say that my set A had values 1, 2, 3, and 4 in it, and then my set B had values 3, 4, 5, and 6. So the intersection is going to create a new set for us that contains only the values that are in common between the two. So when I try to find the intersection of set A and set B, that's going to create a new set that contains 3 and 4, because those are the values that both those sets have in common. So I'll create a set maybe here with a variable called set intersection, and I'm going to assign to that set dot intersection, and I'm going to pass as arguments, I'm going to place inside these parentheses here the names of all of the variables referring to the sets that I want to find the intersection of. All right, and then I'll print out that new set just to show you that it in fact worked, see what the results are of that. So we should see a set that contains 3 and 4, and that's what we see. So all the values that are in common between all of the sets that we want to find the intersection of. Next up is the set union, and set union will create a new set that contains all of the values that both sets have. So we're going to do something like this. We'll say set union equals set dot union, and then I'll pass as an argument set A and set B, and then I'll print that out. Now what am I going to see on the screen? I'm going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because it's the union of those two sets. Now remember, we don't have duplicates in sets. So it'll say, all right, well, I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to take 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to combine them together to create a new set, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because again, we're going to discard our duplicates. So you can see we got our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So next up, let's take a look at the set difference. So the set difference is going to be, it's kind of like doing subtraction. So we're going to find all of the values in set A that are not in set B, is how it's going to work. So we're going to look at this. So we'll do something like set A dot difference, and then we'll pass as an argument set B. So what's in set A that isn't in set B? That's the question that we're asking. So this is going to return a set that contains 1 and 2, because 3 and 4 is in set B. So it's like we're subtracting. It's like we're doing a minus, where we're saying, oh, well, we're going to subtract the 3 and the 4 from our set A because 3 and 4 exists in set B. Now in this particular operation, the 5 and 6 would be ignored. So let's take a look at that. Let's confirm that that is the case. So we'll print out the set difference, and you'll see there is our 1 and our 2. The next thing we'll take a look at is our asymmetric difference, or our symmetric difference, I should say. So what this does is it returns a set that has elements that appear in exactly one of set A or set B. So let's see that. So we'll do set symmetric difference. I'll just do S underscore D because I don't want to type all that out. And we're going to do set A dot symmetric underscore difference. And then we're going to pass this argument set B here. And then we'll print out the result. So set S D. So again, we're going to return a set containing only elements that appear in exactly one of set A or set B. So what are the values that we're going to get? 1, 2, 5, and 6. Now again, why? Because 1 and 2 appears only in set A, 5 and 6 only appears in set B, so we see 1, 2, 5, 6. See, 3 and 4 is both in A or B, so those are the things that are left out. So that's how the symmetric difference works. So that's going to be everything that I have for you today on sets. As usual, if you're a student of mine and you have questions about the content in this video or any of the videos in our courses, please feel free to stop by our Zoom office hours or send me an email via Canvas. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.